Ahead on Up with KREM, all of Spokane County could soon have a moratorium on data centers. The timeline of the decision and why some say this is a bad idea.
Plus, we're under a weather impact alert here as we are going to be faced with critical fire danger. The full details of what you need to be prepared for today ahead.
Parents, listen up. New research this morning shows your screen time might matter just as much as your kids when experts say the phones should go away. Good morning and thank you for starting your day here with us on Up with KREM. I'm Brandon T. Jones and let's go ahead and kick things over to the Weather Center with Jenny Power. Jenny, it was a hot week this week, but what can we expect for the weekend?
Yeah, Brandon, taking a look at the forecast today, it's going to be a big day here ahead of us as we are faced with some critical fire weather dangers. So still going to be seeing temperatures in the low 90s through this afternoon, but our winds are really going to be picking up. And so that's why we do have this in place, some widespread red flag warnings for really the entire inland Northwest. What we are going to see happen is very dry conditions, relative humidity as low as 12% for some people. That is extremely dry. And then plus our wind gusts could reach near 40 miles per hour. So we'll really start to see the relative humidity drop into early afternoon, and this will continue for us into this evening. Moving forward overnight tonight, we get some relief as well as throughout Sunday. Moving forward and taking a look at our winds, they'll start to pick up out of the south-southwest by early afternoon, first in central Washington. But as we fast forward into early evening, that's when we are going to be dealing with the gusts that have the potential of reaching up near 40 to 45 miles per hour. This could lead to new fires starting and spreading rapidly, and it could also be trouble for existing fires that have already been continuing to grow. So it's what we're monitoring very closely. Of course, we're also keeping an eye on air quality. A look at that coming up in my extended forecast.
All right, thank you, Jenny. We'll check back in just a few moments. But today we're following a proposed moratorium on data centers here in Spokane County. County commissioners publicly discussed a proposed 9-month moratorium this week, and it was proposed by Commissioners Amber Waldrop and Chris Jordan. The proposal comes after Avista announced it was in talks to support a 500 megawatt data center, and these talks have now been paused. County leaders say they want to make sure they have the right rules in place before any large project moves forward.
I know that some people feel that moratoriums aren't necessary, but I would hate to see a data center come into Spokane County without any rules of the road that are influenced here by Spokane County stakeholders.
Other commissioners worry a moratorium could send the wrong message, potentially discouraging companies looking to invest in Spokane County. Well, the future of parking in downtown Sandpoint is up in the air after city leaders paused a part of the new parking program. You might remember we brought you this story about 2 weeks ago. KREM 2's Christian Garza has more this morning on the community's pushback and how the city is moving forward.
What started as a way to improve downtown parking has instead sparked frustration for those who live, work, and shop in Sandpoint. Now, city leaders are getting rid of a key item in that idea, and that's why you see these bagged kiosks all over the area. And they will remain this way until city leaders figure out next steps. For downtown businesses, every parking space can mean another customer walking through their doors. But over the last few weeks, some local shops say a new parking system actually drove people away.
Upon immediate implementation, the streets were empty.
John Bates, the owner of Bleeding Hearts Tattoo Emporium off of Main Street, says the sudden change made people avoid downtown altogether, causing the shop to lose close to 70% of their revenue in the 2 weeks the kiosks were there. That's compared to the first 2 weeks of July last year. I spoke with a handful of businesses downtown, and while they didn't all want to go on camera, a couple of them said that they didn't even notice a change in day-to-day business. Sandpoint Mayor Jeremy Grimm says at the City Council's last meeting, they decided to pause the kiosks to reevaluate and revert back to the 2-hour parking maximum that was in place before.
So without kiosks, there's really no way for us to implement a program that allows folks to stay more than 2 hours. So it's a process that's evolving.
The city reiterates that the kiosks downtown are offline, but kiosks in other city lots and City Beach are still active. While conversations surrounding downtown parking will continue to happen, the city says the kiosks will remain paused until the end of summer. In Sandpoint, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Well, it's all over the place. Smartphone distraction is a problem many people face, and for parents, it can have a big impact on their relationship with their teenagers. A study published in Frontiers in Psychology finds the more moms and dads stare at their phones, the less emotionally connected their teens feel to them. The kids also show greater levels of avoidance and anxiousness. Even quick but repeated glances at the phone cause negative effects. Licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Cheryl Ziegler says parents should set rules for the entire family, including screen-free time and no phones at the dinner table. And it also explained when you absolutely need to use your phone when a child is asking for attention, and keep phones out of the bedroom.
When they want to talk to you, you want to be present and available, because it's not very often that they might want to talk to you. So those look downs, those aha, one more minute, or oh yeah, that really added up.
In a separate study in pediatrics, 77% of parents of younger children use some type of media during their last family meal. Well, happy weekend, my friends. We hope you are taking advantage of the free time and long summer days to enjoy some fun out on the town. This weekend in your Weekend What's Up, we start first with the annual Hayden's Day celebration returns, and that's returning to the McIntyre Family Park today. There's a parade with a flyover, a pancake breakfast, and a car show, as well as some live music and games. Priest River's annual Timber Day celebration is today at 7 a.m. and honors the history of the timber industry. There's a parade, local crafts and food vendors, and of course, the logging competition. There's also some car shows as well, and heads up, the boat launch at Bonner Park West will be closed for this. A free outdoor movie this weekend. You can watch Zootopia 2 at the Giza Pavilion at Riverfront Park. Bring your own seating. The movie starts around 8:30 p.m. Get a tour of 4 exceptional gardens throughout Sagal and Sandpoint today. You will travel by coach and enjoy behind-the-scenes access to gardens that are not normally open to the public. The tour ends with a waterfront lunch, and that all starts at 8 a.m. today. And the Kids Fishing Derby is today at Harrison City Docks. Trophies will be awarded for the most fish, most species of fish, and biggest and smallest fish. It's only for kids under 14, and worms for bait is provided, but be sure to bring your own fishing pole. It starts at 9 a.m. this morning. And the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department is helping people escape from the heat and having some fun doing so. They're making it rain with hoses. At McEwen Park today at 2 p.m. Stop by, and the engine will be there as well. You can talk with the firefighters, and they'll be giving out fire hats and stickers. The Bell Tower Music Festival continues today at Zephyr Lodge. It's an outdoor music festival with more than 12 artists. Be sure to bring some of your own seating. And we've got more ahead. First, a local expert says you aren't imagining that extra pinch in your wallet this summer. Why it's the most expensive season for many people, and what you can do now to get on track.
They need every help they can get to survive.
Plus, scientists trying to boost the Pacific Northwest salmon population by putting them in Seattle's marina. How's it going? Just ahead.
Summer is often associated with vacations, backyard barbecues, and time with family, but it can also be one of the most expensive times of the year. Between higher utility bills, summer activities, and back-to-school purchases, many households begin to feel the financial pressure by the middle of July. So here with a local perspective is Pierce Jordan from Giza Credit Union. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so I want to ask you, why does summer have so much pressure? You're a new dad, and a lot of people can relate to the budget woes and for planning ahead. Tell us more about why that pressure feels like it's there.
Yeah, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes who really like the winter time.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, all the fun things happen in the summer.
I agree with you.
We're talking about vacations, camps, and other summer activities are all in full swing at this time. And also, utility costs usually hit their peak with AC units working harder. So what makes summer fun also makes it daunting from a financial perspective, because you have all of these expenses coming at the same time, and they're outside of your ordinary monthly budget, like rent, mortgage, car payments, etc.
Yeah, totally. So tell us more about what folks need to know about when it comes to budgets and for those who like to plan ahead.
The first thing to do is to plan early and often and take a look at your calendar and see what expenses do I have coming up. If you can see it on paper, then you can prepare and plan for it as opposed to reacting to it. Another good idea is to prepare a cash buffer for yourself. So kind of coming off of the World Cup fever here, let's take, you have a soccer camp in late August for $600. Well, put that $600 aside now, and a lot of financial institutions like GISA Credit Union can prepare online saving buckets for you to keep that money separate so it's there when you need it and you don't actually spend it during the rest of the summer.
Kind of like the envelope method?
Exactly, yeah. Keep it separate, out of sight, out of mind, right? And the last thing, if you are feeling a little short on money and need to dip into some extra funds, just know that high interest credit cards are not your only option. Talk to a trusted financial institution and see what other alternatives you have. This could be something as simple as adjusting your budget, dipping into savings, or looking at other financing options like a short-term personal loan, which will very likely have a lower interest rate than a credit card.
Some good advice. So if someone's watching and they're feeling that extra financial pressure this summer, where can they start?
Best place to start is see what fits within your budget. So if you're looking at vacations, for example, plan a vacation around that budget, not the other way around. And another thing to look at is just to be prepared for some of those smaller expenses that creep up. It's easy to remember the big ticket items like airfare, hotel, rental cars. Those are the things that are top of mind because they're probably the first things that you purchase. But other things like parking fees, baggage, souvenirs, meals, etc., those things can kind of creep up on you. So I'd recommend setting aside 10 to 15% on top of your budget to account for those types of things. And finally, just be flexible. Travel on off-peak days, look at driving destinations as opposed to flying. Those types of small adjustments will make a big, meaningful impact on your savings.
All right, Pierce Jordan with GISA Credit Union. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
And coming up, I'm tracking critical fire danger across the inland Northwest with red flag warnings in place today.
Good morning, and happy weekend. Hope you're waking up and having a good start to your weekend, or a good morning to your weekend anyway. We are talking about tools to schools today. And people are like, why are you talking about back to school? We are in the thick of summer. Well, a couple of reasons. One, we have a lot of fundraising to do to make sure our kids are ready for school. And two, a lot of kids start in just over a month. In fact, Spokane Public Schools, I had to look at the calendar a couple of different times because we're just over a month away from the first day of class for many kids around the region. So that's why we are fundraising. From now through August, we have to make sure our kids have what they need to get started. And then it's an ongoing process throughout the year to make sure that they keep the things they need. So a couple of things I want to talk about this year that are maybe a little bit different. Historically, we always wanted to stuff 2,000 backpacks, give them out with communities and schools, and that was great. And we are still working to make some of those backpacks, hundreds if not thousands of them, to give out. But the idea of tools, that word, it's expanded. It is no longer just backpacks or just pencils. It can mean snacks or hygiene products. That's one of the top things they need, hygiene products for kids. We're working with communities and schools and our partners at Office Depot to get kids whatever it is they need to make way for a more successful entry and time at school. So they're not only there at school just sitting there, they're learning and enjoying. So a couple of different ways you can give them. We have some new things this year. When you walk into Office Depot, you can do a couple of different things. You can I made a $1 donation. I just handed them $1, and you can fill out your name or your kid's name and hang it up here. You even get a sticker, kind of like I voted, but it's I gave and supported our kids. So that's a really easy way to give back. If you're here shopping for supplies, you'll walk in, you'll see a table like this, and you can pick up one of these packets. They have all different price points. You take it, they'll ring you up when they're ringing up your items. And so this represents what a $5 donation would look like for a local kid. So these are a great way, a great value for you to know that your money is being used and kind of getting an idea of what it's being used for. You can also go to KREM.com, super easy, make an online donation. That all goes to communities and schools to buy what they need for kids, our local kids. Communities and Schools, by the way, a nonprofit that we work with, they are in 29 different schools where there are a lot of financial challenges. Okay, and then the third way to give, which is new this year, a lot of fun, you can go on KREM.com, get your phone, and scan this QR code. And of course, while I'm over here, it's going to be hard. Hold on one second. Nope, I'm going to do it again. It actually works very easy. There we go. Trying to do too many things. And a wish list comes up that Communities and Schools and Office Depot have developed. You can order what you want directly for the kids. And it can be everything like they have fluoride, which is, again, they have toothpaste rather, a very needed item. They have backpacks. They have anything you want. And you pick out. So maybe have your kids get involved and you can buy something for a local child. I'm here with Randy Martins with Office Depot. He is a manager here. And you are in a little bit of a competition with your other store, which I love.
We are.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So how's the competition going? Are you battling it out? And it's all for the kids. So it's all in good fun.
We are, and without a doubt, we know that Spokane's going to beat the Valley every single time. So I just say keep on coming in, and let me rub it in their face a little bit.
Just a skosh.
Just a little.
I love Randy. You're so into it. Joe over at the other store, he's so into it because you know it's going to local kids.
It is, and it's a great cause. It's something that Office Depot's had a long time relationship with us, so it's fun for us too.
Excellent. Good luck to you. Good luck to the Valley. I love them both. No favorites here. One of the things I want to point out, kind of funny to me, some of the old things are still the biggest thing. We've got Spider-Man. There on the other side, there's Hello Kitty, strawberry shortcake. That's from my era. So if you would like to donate and give a little bit of nostalgia to it, or if you would like to just get some fresh supplies, or if you just want to give some cash so that they can buy what they need at Communities and Schools, we appreciate your help. Tools to Schools. It is going on now through August, and we want to make sure our kids have what they need. I'll send it back to you.
It's time now to get a look at your weekend forecast here, where I am tracking some widespread red flag warnings and the risk of some critical fire danger as we head through your Saturday. So it will be mostly sunny out there, still dealing with some smoke and haze from wildfires. But I want to get right into what we are most concerned with, and that does have to do with this. Some widespread red flag warnings for much of the inland Northwest here. All of these areas that are shaded in pink. So central and eastern Washington included in that, as well as through the North Idaho Panhandle. We are going to be seeing some very low relative humidity values, and then combine that with wind gusts that could reach up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And it's not ideal to combine those things, especially after we have seen several days of very dry conditions. So when it comes to monitoring for fire danger, one of the big things that we take a close look at does have to do with relative humidity values. Anything below 30% is considered dry, but when we see those values dropping into the teens and sometimes even the single digits, that's indicating extremely dry conditions. So fires could start easily and be spread rapidly because of those dry fuels. Now, relative humidity is going to improve overnight, but before we get there, our winds are going to be strongest today. So they'll be coming out of the south-southwest here with the potential of reaching 40 miles per hour. That, again, not ideal considering how dry it is going to be out there. Our winds really start to pick up by early afternoon, but will remain elevated into this evening. It's not until tomorrow that we start to see some relief, and we'll see at times a little bit of a breeze through Sunday evening, but the gustiest conditions are going to be for Saturday afternoon and evening. Moving forward through our future tracker, mostly dry conditions. We are going to prepare to see plenty of sunshine, but we're still dealing with some of that smoke and the haze that has been out there. Now, the one thing to note in our smoke modeling here, it does get a little bit tricky, but with those stronger winds from the south-southwest, we are actually actually anticipating for some of that smoke and haze to be pushed further out toward the northeast. That does mean we could see more smoke filling in through northeast Washington by tomorrow, but it's something that we'll be monitoring. But if you've been wondering, hey, will we get any relief with these elevated winds? It is a possibility for the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene areas. Highs this afternoon will be in the low 90s for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We're looking at some mid 90s in Richland. We're looking at upper 80s across Chelan and Wenatchee, while overnight lows will fall into the low 60s for Spokane, and we're looking at some mid to upper 50s across the rest of the region. As we kind of take a look at what's to come next week, temperatures are going to be closer to our seasonal norm, a little bit warm toward the end of next week here, but also conditions will be dry, calmer than what we've seen this past week. A reminder, you can stream our live local radar and get updates on the forecast whenever you like for free on the KREM 2 app.
Well, scientists are testing a new way to increase the Pacific Northwest salmon population. Brady Wakayama with our Environment Northwest team shows us how it works.
This 300-foot floating wetland in Seattle's Shilshole Bay Marina is designed to throw a lifeline to struggling salmon.
To our knowledge, nobody had tested them in salt water.
Since 2022, the University of Washington's Green Futures Lab, partnering with Earth Corps, has been testing whether this floating ecosystem can survive and help salmon do the same. With more than 75% of Seattle's shorelines altered, young salmon are losing the calm, shallow waters they need to grow. This project brings a piece of that back.
Perfect place to provide habitat that would provide shade for salmon, food for salmon, other aquatic advantages, ecosystem services. We are definitely seeing more salmon here than we are at the, as I mentioned, at the control site that has no floating wetlands. And the plants are thriving.
The 5-year study wraps next summer, with the results headed to the community and the Port of Seattle. The hope, this floating habitat doesn't just stay here, but spreads across more marinas, giving salmon more places to navigate and survive.
It's the first step, but I hope it's one that others can build on so that these can be scaled up to this marina and other marinas.
Washington Congressman Michael Baumgartner is also working to protect salmon. He introduced the Northwest Endangered Salmon Predation Prevention Act earlier this month. It would improve outdated methods of managing some of these salmon populations. And it's another hot weekend, so in just 2 minutes, I'll take you outside to some of the free spots where you can beat the heat. Well, free family fun, that is the name of the game, especially if you've got some little ones running you crazy around the house and you got the heat that's picking up. You gotta find ways to cool off, and if it's free, how much better does it get than that? Keeping the kids entertained, keeping yourself a little bit sane as well. So there's 19 of these different splash pads throughout the city of Spokane that Spokane Parks is running. All of them are good options. All of them are free and open every day from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. So you should be able to find one near you. The city of Spokane also has an aquatic centers and splash pads map on the city website to help you locate them. And speaking of those aquatic centers, don't forget, the city has 6 operated pools that they run throughout these summer months, and that includes Hilliard, Comstock, AM Cannon, Shadle, to name a few, and they all have free swim options, but you can't forget to sign up for a splash pad, because that splash pass is what the equivalent of a library card is. So you can't get signed up for those open swim sessions if you don't have that splash pad pass, but it's super easy to sign up for it. You can either go online and sign up for it, Spokane Park, City of Spokane, or you can go to some of these open pools and sign up when they're running their operations of hours. So don't forget, stay cool, stay calm, apply the sunscreen, and also make sure you're staying hydrated as well. For now, they're reporting here on the South Hill. Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News. And we know it's still July, but back to school is already in full swing at the big box stores. And now is a good time to start planning, because experts say this season's spending will break records. More on that in 15 minutes. Ahead on Up with KREM, a multi-state investigation into the mysterious deportation flights that never leave the country. A look at what ICE operation is costing taxpayers. Plus, a warning for your wallet. Back to school season is here and it's looking to shatter spending records. What to know before you head to the store. And calling all picklers. New courts are now open in Post Falls, so coming up, I'll give you a look inside. Good morning and welcome to Up with KREM. I'm Brandon T. Jones. We want to go ahead and get right on over to the Weather Center because Jenny Power is standing by. And Jenny, it's been an absolutely hot week. So what do we need to know in terms of the weather this weekend?
Yeah, well, as we get ready for this here, Brandon, yeah, it definitely was hot and it was very dry. And today we are going to see some elevated winds across the region, and that's unfortunately leading to some fire danger. So weather still top of mind here as we get you ready for your Saturday. In fact, what we're dealing with through this afternoon are some red flag warnings that are going to be impacting much of the inland Northwest here, all these areas that are shaded in pink on your screen. So unfortunately, we could see new fires start and be spread rapidly when we see this combination of relative humidity as low as 12%, just indicating how extremely dry it is set to be this afternoon, plus wind gusts that could reach 40 miles per hour. So let's take a look at that progression, because when we're talking about relative humidity, anything below 30% is considered dry. But when we start to fall to the teens, that is extremely dry. And we're looking at that through this afternoon as well as into early evening. Taking a look at our winds, our gusts are going to be coming out of the south-southwest here, really picking up in central Washington by early afternoon. It's by late afternoon into early evening that the region will be seeing more elevated winds, and that shift here really coming out of the west. So a little bit of a wind direction shift. So that's what we're tracking very closely. Full timing in my extended forecast.
Well, the city of Spokane is currently under water restrictions, level 2 water restrictions right now, and it's because the Spokane river flow is under 1,000 cubic feet per second. So on top of the regular restrictions, also avoid spraying down sidewalks and patios. Opt to sweep them instead. And if you can, only water your landscape 2 days a week. Well, a vast network of planes fly over American skies every day, carrying not only cargo, but people from city to city. ICE Air Operations is well known for its out-of-the-country flights, but a multi-state Tegna-led investigation found most of the flights never leave the U.S., which got investigative reporter Chris Vanderveen wondering why.
People don't realize what's happening in our community.
One day, one plane.
It's not like anything I've ever seen before.
ICE Air Operations is once again
It's astounding.
on the move.
Just the number of people that are moved daily.
From Youngstown, Ohio, we watched as a plane known as Tyson 57 headed east to Bedford, Massachusetts.
What we're seeing here is a piece of a nationwide, giant-scale secret operation whisking people around the country and then out of the country.
This is what we wanted to document, a secret network of planes that don't fly people out of the country, but across it.
Everyone should care kind of about these flights in particular.
Savi Arvi with Human Rights First, a national immigrant advocacy group, where his flights intended to assist with deportation also appeared to be doing something else.
People are being treated like Amazon packages, kind of just shuffled about and then, flown out of this country.
From Massachusetts, Tyson 57 headed west to Indianapolis, Indiana. Here, a dozen or so boarded. From Indy, our camera crews recorded one more stop.
People deserve to know what happens to them, not to disappear into the black hole.
Alexandria, Louisiana, the nation's busiest ICE Air hub.
You'll see them line up. They just keep coming.
In 2023, the then acting ICE director in front of Congress estimated these charter flights run $17,000 an hour. This day's journey, 7 hours. By that estimation, $119,000 from start to finish. And Tyson 57 was hardly alone that day. We identified, tracked, traced 65 flights in all, most of which never left the U.S.
Naturally, you need to know where your person is.
Seattle-based attorney Jenny Pasquarella says what we found, she sees often.
I had a client detained in Maryland who ended up in Louisiana, then in Texas, then finally to Tacoma, where I met her.
Our investigation identified 91 planes operated by 8 private companies carrying out what we believe to be the bulk of ICE Air's domestic flight network. ICE told us it moves based on bed space, medical needs, and other factors, and will not comment on specifics, citing operational security purposes. Tomorrow, the planes will fly again. A little understood, seldom documented, domestic-only transfer system that's taking place over American skies daily. We work with TEGNA stations across the country to identify not just the planes and the routes, but the patterns within the entire system. This is not an investigation of deportation. It is an investigation about what happens before deportation. Our full documentary, ICE Air, hits our streaming app Monday at 8 p.m. I'm Chris Vanderveen reporting.
Well, last month, the Downtown Spokane Partnership announced Vintage Alley, a public art project that will transform an underused corridor into a vibrant downtown destination. Painting got underway in Railroad Alley between the Norman and Jefferson buildings. There, we caught up with artist Chris Bovey, who's leading the creative vision to transform the alleyway.
I think it celebrates our history. It captures Spokane pride, and because a lot of these places that we're going to be painting, like the White Elephant, the Shack, things like that, they're no longer around. So if they're still on the wall in Vintage Alley, they can live on in some way, you know.
The first phase of the project will include the installation of decorative string lighting and the large-scale mural designed by Bovey. Future phases will introduce vintage neon signs throughout the alley. All right, if you need something to do this weekend, don't worry, we've got an idea for you. There's air conditioning there as well. So coming up, I'll show you the all-new pickleball courts in Post Falls. Plus, after 70 years, Disneyland's California park welcomed its billionth guest. How they celebrated the major milestone, coming up. All right, folks, we're here at the Flying Pickle, and this is an absolutely beautiful, added to your must-to-do list here in the Inland Northwest. We're with Dwayne McPherson, the co-owner of the Flying Pickle. And Dwayne, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
We're so excited about this grand opening.
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that Santa Claus is going to be here today. And so bring your children, come out and watch pickleball, learn how it's done. We have 5 pros on staff. They'll be helping to teach people. Come and check it out and try pickleball. We've got a kitchen, pro shop. We've got everything you could possibly need, and a great place to sit up in our mezzanine. And kick back and relax.
Well, when you say kitchen, he's not just talking about the actual, kitchen on the courts. He's talking about they've got a full kitchen, where you can get something to eat, get something to drink. What about this sport do you feel is so special that brings people together?
Well, it's the fastest growing sport in the United States. It's growing at about 20% a year. There's over 24 million people that are playing pickleball right now. And it's growing so fast that there's no facilities for them to play. And that's what we wanted to do up here, is create a pickleball destination right here in Post Falls, Idaho. And so we're right between Spokane and Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint. Come on out and try this. It's such a wonderful sport.
Yes, sir. Yeah, come on out. The grand opening theme is Christmas in July. This feels like a huge gift here to the Inland Northwest, just from in terms of the state of our facility. I mean, I can't describe it any better than that. It's just beautiful. You got to come out and see it for yourself. So Dwayne, we want to say thank you. He also mentioned Santa Claus is going to be making an appearance, so don't want to miss out on that. Thank you, and we'll toss it back inside of the studio. Coming up here on Up with KREM, one Idaho family's day at the pond led to a surprising discovery. Turns out the gem state has jellyfish. How it all happened next. Well, the start of the new school year is just about 1 month away, and it's about time to start school shopping for all of your supplies and other needs. But some of the items on your kids' list may be much more expensive this year. So Jen Sullivan breaks down how much families are expected to spend and ways you can save.
Spending on back-to-school shopping is expected to break records this year, topping $43 billion, according to a new survey from the National Retail Federation. Shoppers plan to spend just over $863 on supplies for students in kindergarten through 12th grade this year. That's about $5 more than last year, according to the survey.
I think there is definitely an expectation that that prices are going to be higher for certain goods.
Mark Matthews with the NRF says the cost of electronics and shoes is driving up prices this year. Here's the breakdown of where that money's going. Electronics, about $293. Clothing, $250. Shoes, $174. And school supplies, about $146. Matthew says the good news is retailers are already rolling out sales and discounts on school supplies. He says that's one way to help save money.
One thing that helps you with is to spread that spending across the entire season, because these are not small sums of money that people are having to spend to get their kids back to school.
College students can expect to spend even more. Shoppers plan to spend an average of $1,400 on back-to-school items for college. That's $111 more than last year. Matthew says the main reason is computer prices.
If we look at computers, we know that chip prices are incredibly high, and that's pushing some of the cost of computers. And that is a big ticket item.
Many top manufacturers offer payment plans for computers, and some even offer student discounts between 5 and 10%. That can help you budget and save. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
It's time now to get a look at your weekend forecast here, where I am tracking some widespread red flag warnings and the risk of some critical fire danger as we head through your Saturday. So it will be mostly sunny out there, still dealing with some smoke and haze from wildfires. But I want to get right into what we are most concerned with, and that does have to do with this. Some widespread red flag warnings for much of the inland northwest here. All of these areas that are shaded in pink. So central and eastern Washington included in that, as well as through the North Idaho panhandle. We are going to be seeing some very low relative humidity values, and then combine that with wind gusts that could reach up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And it's not ideal to combine those things, especially after we have seen several days of very dry conditions. So when it comes to monitoring for fire danger, one of the big things that we take a close look at does have to do with relative humidity values. Anything below 30% is considered dry, but when we see those values dropping into the teens and sometimes even the single digits, that's indicating extremely dry conditions. So fires could start easily and be spread rapidly because of those dry fuels. Now, relative humidity is going to improve overnight, but before we get there, our winds are going to be strongest today. So they'll be coming out of the south-southwest here with the potential of reaching 40 miles per hour. That, again, not ideal considering how dry it is going to be out there. Our winds really start to pick up by early afternoon, but will remain elevated into this evening. It's not until tomorrow that we start to see some relief, and we'll see at times a little bit of a breeze through Sunday evening, but the gustiest conditions are going to be for Saturday afternoon and evening. Moving forward through our future tracker, mostly dry conditions. We are going to prepare to see plenty of sunshine, but we're still dealing with some of that smoke and the haze that has been out there. Now, the one thing to note in our smoke modeling here, it does get a little bit tricky, but with those stronger winds from the south-southwest, we are actually anticipating for some of that smoke and haze to be pushed further out toward the northeast. That does mean we could see more smoke filling in through northeast Washington by tomorrow, but it's something that we'll be monitoring. But if you've been wondering, hey, will we get any relief with these elevated winds? It is a possibility for the Spokane and Coeur d'Alene areas. Highs this afternoon will be in the low 90s for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We're looking at some mid 90s in Richland. We're looking at upper 80s across Chelan and Wenatchee, while overnight lows will fall into the low 60s for Spokane, and we're looking at some mid to upper 50s across the rest of the region. As we kind of take a look at what's to come next week, temperatures are going to be closer to our seasonal norm, a little bit warm toward the end of next week here, but also conditions will be dry, calmer than what we've seen this past week. A reminder, you can stream our live local radar and get updates on the forecast whenever you like for free on the KREM 2 app.
Well, new this morning, an Idaho family was spending an afternoon at the pond when they made a surprising discovery. It turns out there are jellyfish in the gem state. Check it out.
There are plenty of things you expect to find during a summer day at the pond. Birds, ducks, and dogs. Maybe even
fish and like other things.
But not this.
At first I thought it was maybe a feather or something kind of mucusy looking, so I was going to move the girls out of the way, and then I saw that it was moving up and down.
Floating through the pond at Freedom Park in Star, there was a creature the Brandis family
You couldn't really see it because they were like clear.
only expected to find in an ocean, not in Idaho.
And I told the girls, grab a bucket, and sure enough, I was like, I think this is a jellyfish, and we scooped it up and put it in her little sand bucket, and it was jellyfish. And then we started seeing more and more and more.
One jellyfish became two.
Once we saw some, we would swim out and grab them and then swim back in and then put them in the bucket.
Then 5 became 10.
And then it just became a game. We started trying to catch as many as we could and put them in the bucket, and I think we had about 15 or 16 by the time we were done.
Each one was clear.
They're kind of squishy, but they're also slimy.
About the size of a small coin.
They feel weird, and I don't like it.
And for a moment, the girls had one very reasonable question.
We were kind of scared because we thought that they were going to sting us.
I reached out to Idaho Fish and Game. I said, do you guys know anything about this? You know, why they're here, how they got here, are they harmless? Is it okay for us to be swimming in the water?
The good news? They may look like they're saltwater cousins, but they cannot deliver the same painful surprise.
They said their stingers are too small to sting you.
Yep.
Yeah.
They said their stingers, their tentacles are too small that the stingers can't penetrate human skin.
Yeah.
So I guess they're essentially
They're
harmless.
really tiny.
Idaho Fish and Game says freshwater jellyfish are rare, but they're not new to Idaho. They've been here for about 30 years. Nobody knows for certain how they move from one body of water to another, but their tiny bodies can have hundreds of tentacles, mostly used to catch very small organisms like plankton.
It was interesting because I've never seen jellyfish in a freshwater lake before.
Unexpected. And hard to explain to your friends once summer vacation is over. Are you excited to go back to school and tell all your friends that you saw jellyfish this summer?
Yeah.
Are they gonna believe you?
Probably not.
Fortunately, they have photos to prove it.
Oh, they're still sleeping.
And they're already excited to find more.
Well, have you been to the original Disneyland theme park in California? If the answer is yes, you're 1 in a billion. How the park celebrated that milestone this month. Well, Jenny, they always say the happiest place on earth is Disneyland or Disney World, but for this month at the California Park Disneyland, they welcomed its billionth guest.
Oh my gosh, okay. And it also ended up being kind of a fun surprise. 8-year-old Andres Robles from Arizona became the 1 billionth person to visit the California theme park. He was celebrating his birthday, and his parents got a VIP tour for the day for him as well. The milestone also came during the park's 70th birthday celebration. Disneyland first opened in 1955.
Yeah, so we worked out the math for this. 1 billion people over 70 years averages out to about 40,000 visitors per day. Obviously, that varies from day to day, though on peak days, the park can hit about 85,000 guests.
Wow, that is crazy to think about, that many people on a single day.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I was just telling Jenny that I'm from Orlando, so I grew up going to Disney World. And my favorite part, especially now that if I go back and I take my kids, is to watch all of the other exhausted parents, you know, because you spend so much money to go to Disney.
Yes.
It's like we're going to be staying out here all day long, you know, so
Taking
from
advantage of it.
sunrise basically to sunset until the fireworks start going off, you know?
Fair, yeah. What was your favorite food to get? Do you
My
have any
favorite, I don't know about my favorite food. I usually probably stick with like chicken tenders or something. But you know what, actually, Jenny? I never got it. I don't know if it's because my mom just wouldn't get me one or not. But if you ever walk through those kind of parks, you smell the turkey legs, you know? And they always smell amazing. But I think, as a kid, I probably didn't need a turkey leg, you know?
Needed chicken tenders.
Yeah, have you ever had a turkey leg?
At a fair, yes.
How do you
bites
like
of
them?
It. So good.
Really?
Yeah, it's like that classic food.
Yeah, so I'm maybe at the fair this year, I'll go ahead and get myself a turkey leg. Still have never tried one, so I look forward to that. But again, happy birthday to Disneyland.
Yes.
And thank you just for joining us this morning. We appreciate you for hanging out with us here on Up with KREM. We'll see you later.
Have a good day, everybody.